Motorsport 411 presents
all the four- and two-wheeled action.
Motorsport 411 with Sean Cardovillis.
Welcome to Motorsport 411, your home for all your four- and two-wheel action in Africa. Coming up in this episode, local rallying is back. We have a preview to this weekend's Nanyuki Rally as we speak to the chairman of the Nanyuki Rally Group and clerk of the course, Bimal, Patel. And we get the latest on the state of karting in the country as we speak to a member of the Karting Commission, Norris Ongalo. And we catch up with the owner of the TGRV Track in the Rift Valley, Raj Dadhley.
All the four- and two-wheeled action. Motorsport 411.
Welcome to the show. So after a break of a couple of months to make way for the WRC Safari Rally, local rallying is back with the Nanyuki Rally on this weekend. Bimal Patel is the chairman of Nanyuki Rally Group and also the clerk of the course for the event, and I asked him how the preparations have gone along.
Sean, we are set for the event. We've done 5 route recce's so far. We've made sure everything is in place. And we're looking forward to receiving all of you this weekend.
How different or how similar is the route from last year?
We're using the same ranch that we used last year. That's all in Asia. That's where the 2 stages will be held. And a 3rd stage will be held at Greystones, which also doubles up as a spectator stage.
Many people will be asking why Batian View is not being used once again.
Okay. What we found out was we were losing in total 2 hours just on a transport stage to come to Batian View, and we added too much of transport kilometers. So we tried to make it more compact, as in bring the spectator stage near Olenaisho so that the drivers don't have to travel on the public road.
One of the things you've done, apart from having a very scenic route, is to make it as driver-friendly as possible. Just elaborate on that.
Yeah, our route is very compact. We've got like 70% competitive and only 30% transport. It makes it very competitive. It's going to be a very fast recce. You don't spend the whole day on the stages. So from a driver's point of view, it is something that is very easy and it's done with in a shorter period, and of course with much less expense incurred.
One of the unique factors of Nanyuki Rally Group is that you have a lot of officials who are involved with the Safari Rally, with the WRC Safari Rally. That ensures a high quality of organization.
Yes, in fact, starting from the clerk, of course, deputy clerk, of course, plus a lot of stage commanders. They're all from Nanyuki Rally Group. So we have a lot of experienced guys in our lineup of officials, and they bring in a lot more information, and we put this to practical use, and it works out quite well.
Bimal, can you give us more details about the spectator area where people can go? How to get there, and what are the rules and regulations for the spectators?
The spectator stage is approximately 12 kilometers from Nanyuki town on the way to Timau. You're turning off on the Loldaiga junction. It's another kilometer inside on that Murram road, what we are now calling as Greystones. So the first time round, the crews will tackle 8 kilometers. And the second time round, again, when they tackle this same stage, it's going to be a power stage. So that's where drivers will be flat out looking for extra points on the power stage. We also have the service park located in the same ranch. Spectators will be allowed in there. There is no charge. Please do come in large numbers. Of course, COVID protocol will have to be followed. And we do have COVID officers on the ground. And come and have a nice, enjoyable day there. We have a caterer also on site, so you don't have to carry your picnic lunch or whatever, selling drinks and food as well.
Bimal, in terms of the entries, the reductions, we've seen, of course, the likes of Flash, Baldy. Eric Bengi taking a break from the sport. From your point of view, what can be done to get people back into the sport?
The first thing is everyone's going through this post-COVID, and also with the economy, money is not available. We should look for a sponsor who is ready to cater for the drivers' entry fees and fuel maybe, plus accommodation. That will take off quite a bit from the driver's side of expenses. And maybe also look at getting a sponsor who can maybe look into maintaining these cars in future.
All right, just finally, some of the top drivers who have confirmed their entries so far?
We have Karan Patel confirmed, our newcomer Raji confirmed, being navigated by Ravi Soni, Ian Duncan, Shakil Khan, Frank Tundo, and then we have our local boy as well, P.S. Dakin in the 240Z. So it's going to be a nice battle between all the classics as well.
Super stuff. Really looking forward to the event this week. Our thanks as always to the clerk of the course for the event, Bimal Patel of Nanyuki Rally Group. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Motorsport 411.
Thank you, Sean.
All the 4 and 2-wheeled action.
Motorsport 411.
Welcome back. Now let's get the latest on the state of karting in the country and speak to a member of the Karting Commission, Norris Ongalo. Norris, thank you so much for joining us on Motorsport 411. You had an event recently. How did it go?
It was beautiful. We, for a long time, had a good turnout. We had 19 participants coming through. This is the highest number we've seen the last 3 years. So that's a good indication. And out of those, we had a couple of new ones as well. So I'm happy to see that even for the Bambino class, which last year we never even had one entry, we had five guys coming through.
Super. Are you getting talent that's coming into karting, or is it people returning back to karting?
If you're looking back, most of these guys are new, with the exception of, say, Miles, Imbai, and Krish Vadgama. The rest are fairly new.
All right. It was held at Whistling Moran. The owners have put a lot of investment there. It's actually a very, very nice track, huh?
It's a beautiful track. I mean, it is the closest we have for a CIK track. It's not CIK compliant yet, but to convert it to a CIK compliance is easy.
Which other tracks are you using at the moment?
At the moment, we only have 2 clubs that are running the event, and they opt to take their events to either Whistling Moran or the Rift Valley Motorsports Club in Nakuru. And that's for obvious reasons, because the other club that is running half of the rounds is the Rift Valley Motorsports Club, so they'll have to take it. They always take it to their own track.
There was an issue with TGRV. Has that issue been resolved?
TGRV, if I recall well, I think had been banned in the year 2019 for 2020. Since COVID happened and we didn't have any races in 2020, I do understand that ban was extended to 2021, but it was only for 1 year. So therefore, it means that in 2022, it was eligible for running any event. But remember, these events are run by clubs, so it's the prerogative of the clubs to decide and determine where they want to take the events.
For those that don't know, just give us the background in regards to that ban.
I don't have much details, but I understand that there was a conflict in regards to the owner of the track and the organizers of an event. So because of that, the Motorsports Council felt that the owner of the track was interfering with the running of the event. So those were the scanty details that I got, but I don't have the full details. I think the best would be for you to get the details from the owner of the track and from chairman of the Kenya Motorsports Council.
All right. Just going back to events on the track, how's it going in terms of the talent coming through?
It's amazing. All the 3 classes are very competitive. We have seen really good racing. We've seen the races exchanging hands, and that's what we're looking for. It's not one person running with the race. So that clearly tells us that there's good talent coming through. We're seeing young guys from the age of 5, especially the Babino class, coming through. The likes of Sean Jumbi, who's a new boy this year, Wilf Alobo also, and the leader, of course, of the class, which is Vicente Rio. Beautiful races we've been seeing from these guys. And of course, not to mention Aiden and Isaiah, who also have brought in really their A game this year.
Now, I've been to Whistling Moran. They've put in a lot of investment in terms of they got a lot of karts. You can go there, you can do karting yourself. In terms of the competitors, how many of the competitors use the karts that are there, and how many bring their own?
Actually, all of the 19 competitors bring their own. We don't have, we have the provision of having guys using the commercial cars at Whistling Moran, but we didn't have any entry in that regard. But it is provided for in your NCR. So whenever we want guys who walk in and want to use the commercial carts, then that provision is always available.
You're a member of the Karting Commission. We see investments in terms of karting. We see a fairly new track at Two Rivers. Your thoughts on that? I guess you're encouraging investment in karting.
Well, we'd love to see as many tracks as possible. I mean, we want to get to the level where UK have tracks in the hundreds. We in Kenya. I guess the ones that we can use at the moment are only 3, but there are 2 more coming up. As you mentioned, Waterfront. We have I think it's 1.3 kilometers track, which is coming up. Well, I've been there and looking forward to seeing kids using that track. There is another track also coming up on Limuru Road, just around about Tigoni area. So again, that's about 1.3 kilometers. That will spice up the event, so that it's not really predictable where the event will be taken. So guys have to really not use a recall to drive, but using skills to drive.
Now, I understand this was the 5th round of the championship. How many more rounds are remaining?
What happened this year is that we in total was scheduled to have 10 rounds, and we will have 10 rounds. However, in the running order, we didn't run from round 1 to round 8 because we already ran 8 rounds. This is because we had to amalgamate and run the initial ones that had been set as single headers as double, to be run as double headers. So because of that and the way they had been spread to different clubs, we had to jump over from one round to another. For instance, the first round we ran was round 2 and round 4 as a double header, and then we went to round 1 and round 3. Now, because again of amalgamating the rounds, this past weekend we ran round 5 and round 8. Yet we already had run round 6 and 7 prior the last meeting. So now we have run 8 rounds from round 1 to round 8. We have 2 rounds to go. One round will be run by Rift Valley Motorsports Club, and the other round will be run by Kenya Motorsports Club. Now, these clubs will determine when the rounds will be run. It's expected that Rift Valley would want to run theirs on their track. However, parents have been pushing to have these events run as double headers for obvious reasons: time management and cost management. So that we have a weekend where you're running 2 rounds within that weekend, and that's it is a tough weekend, but it eventually saves money and it makes business sense for everybody.
All right. And for those who want to follow the championship, how can they follow it in terms of social media?
Now, that's the area we need to improve on. And unfortunately, because the event is mainly being run by and funded by parents, individual parents would have their own walls. However, we as a commission are of the opinion that hopefully next year, and should we get a sponsor, we need to have an open forum on a social platform. That said, allow me also to say a big thank you to NTV for covering the last 2 rounds of the event. NTV came through on Saturday, and they were able to carry the story through their platform. And we want a lot more of this, because this is what would encourage sponsors, one, and two, this is what would make people know that we have this event and we need to grow the numbers.
All right. Norris, the last time we spoke to you, I remember you were overseas, and we did have a chat with the chair lady of the karting committee in Seychelles. She was happy to see she could link up with Kenya. Any follow-up regarding that from the Karting Commission here?
The issue was what we did was we pushed this forward to the vice president of FIA, who is the president of Africa. And what we're doing is that we anticipate to have an African championship for karting, hopefully next year. I can't say this with authority, but I know there's a lot more happening in the background to get a couple of affiliations coming through to run karting. I know we gave information to the federation in regards to these facilities we have that can run karting, and I'm sure the other countries like Mozambique and South Africa, Namibia, that probably may come through. So all this put together, including Seychelles, then I feel the way to go is to have an African championship where kids would also have a platform at a higher stage to showcase their talent.
All right, Norris, as always, thank you so much for speaking to us on Motorsport 411. We really appreciate you taking the time out.
I appreciate you using this platform to enlighten Kenyans about motorsports and what's happening in that regard.
That's a member of the Karting Commission, Norris Ongalo. We'll be back.
All the 4 and 2-wheeled action.
Motorsport 411.
Welcome back. Now let's continue to talk about the state of karting in the country and speak to the owner of TGRV, Raj Dadhley. Raj, we'll talk about the problems you've encountered at TGRV in just a moment, but karting went through a difficult period from the start of COVID in 2020. How did that affect you?
That was a very difficult period for us, especially when the borders were closed up. We didn't get much traffic in from Nairobi. We got a few guys trickling in from Naivasha sides and Nakuru sides. So that kept us chugging along. Yeah, it's not been too bad. We're busy on the commercial side doing our a rental karting. And that seems to be paying our bills at the moment. Yeah.
Just give us a background to the track, how you got involved in karting and just the amount that you and your family have put into the business.
Okay. My kids developed this interest in about 2011, 2012, and we had a group of very keen karters, and we used to kart at the Solai track in Nakuru, and we also used the GP karting track a lot here in Nairobi. That's where it all started, and eventually our numbers grew quite considerable, and all the parents were of the opinion that we need a bigger and better track. Many of the kids were already racing out in Europe. So there were many ideas floating around, and, collectively we came up with this idea of building a world-class facility. So, our family took the plunge. Of course, my dad was the driving force behind it. He really wanted his grandkids and the other kids to have a fantastic facility to race at. So we embarked on this project as a family, and we acquired 28 acres of land, and initially we did build a track. We built a beautiful track, and the response was amazing. We had so many karters involved. Everyone was happy. We ran a successful championship for 3 years to the Sikh Union, and at one point we had nearly 40 karters.
I've been to the track. It's an amazing facility. You've also got accommodation should people want to stay the night,
yes.
Even a swimming pool. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But what went wrong exactly?
Sean, to be honest, that's a very difficult question. As far as we're concerned as a family, we wanted karting to progress and move on. At this stage, we had projected at least 60 to 70 karters racing all over Kenya. Karting is about a variety of racetracks. And more importantly, it's building your racecraft. That means racing against other drivers. We were headed that way, and we were very happy with the way it was going. But eventually we had a breakaway group who decided they don't really want to race at our facility. We got nasty letters and slagging our facility, criticizing and it became so unpleasant. So we just took a step back, and there was one group of about 20 karters who decided they don't want any more of this, and they basically quit. Then we had another group who went to another track and decided to have all their events at the other track. So what the inside story is, it's very difficult for me to actually speak on their behalf and why they did what they did. From 40 plus karters, I think it was 2020, we only had like 4 or 5 kids racing in the championship. That again had a knock-on effect to other karters. They didn't want to race against, minimal numbers. So the sport had a great decline at the time. I haven't really pursued anything with the federation or any of the clubs. We're just taking one step at a time and hoping that, karting will progress again. The numbers will come up, and, for the betterment of the kids, they have a beautiful track to race on, and they'll have good numbers to race with if all tracks are considered. It's really out of my hands now. I can't really comment much on that matter. I haven't had much communication from anyone, so we've just let it be for now. TGRV was built for the progression of the sport rather than politics of the sport. So when people or racers eventually realize what the meaning of TGRV is and they come back, we'll be more than happy to accommodate them. Well, my 2 cents would be it shouldn't be like this. Every country is so passionate about this sport, and it's a shame that we have this facility in our country and it's not being utilized the way it should be utilized. As a family, coming back to your earlier question, we have put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of capital. We did it with good faith. We did it with the intention of youngsters having a good facility to race on, having comfortable accommodation to sleep at so they don't have to rush back to Nairobi, having a fantastic kitchen, clubhouse, good food to eat. But it seems to have all gone south. So I wish I had a better answer, but from my perspective, that's how it stands at the moment.
Raj, we understand it's a very difficult situation, and we really appreciate you talking to us on Motorsport 411. Speaking to Norris Ongalo, he said that there was a ban on TGRV. He didn't elaborate too much on it. Speaking to you before the interview, you said you were not aware of a ban. Can you just elaborate on that?
I'm actually not aware of any ban on our facility. A ban has to come with good reasons. We've been to tracks all over the world, and all tracks are built in a different way. They have a variety of layouts. If there is a ban that's been instituted, we would appreciate us being made aware of it. It's rather unfair that they're talking in the background about a ban which we are not even aware about. And if they have good reasons for banning us, I'd love to know. And it's a shame that there's a ban instituted on such a fantastic facility. Please, I would like to be more educated on this ban. There's nothing been put to us formally in writing. There's no communication verbally over the phone or anything like that. So whoever is saying these things, please do let us know what the ban is about. And it's a shame that you're banning a facility where youngsters are honing their skills to learn to race, and someone has to step in. I mean, I'm sure the federation wants good facilities in the country. They want facilities where children can come and enjoy themselves and progress to better and bigger motorsports. Why ban a facility? It's just absurd as far as I'm concerned. We've ran successful championships, well, including club championships, for 4 or 5 years. We've had no incidents on the track. Everyone goes home happy. It's a shame, really. I mean, it's high time the captains of the motorsport step in and actually investigate what this is. You know, it could be hearsay. It could be, some bad elements trying to put our facility down. And of course, slandering a facility in this way has its repercussions. If they're talking about a ban on TGRV, it's totally unheard of from our part. It's yeah.
You mentioned the other track, and of course, for the neutrals, the other track is Whistling Moran. From your point of view, and from a neutral's point of view, listening to this show, surely there's, having more facilities is actually good for karting. I've also been to Whistling Morans. It's a fantastic facility as well. Surely that's for the betterment of the sport.
Absolutely. The more the tracks, the better for the kids. They get to race on a variety of different configurations. They race against more people. It's more exciting to go to different tracks. It's better for the racer in the long term. So the idea of just racing on one track because maybe a particular club is more interested in that track is totally not fair. Yeah, it's not fair for the children. It's not fair for the sport. But we hope that they see some sense into introducing more tracks into the championship and getting the kids to race on all tracks. Nakuru is a 600-meter track in Solai. Fantastic track. It holds its own challenges, and it's good to race on that track. Like our track has very smooth flowing corners, a lot of hairpins. I've never been to Whistling Moran, so I'm not sure what that track is like. So in the interest of the children, we should be racing on all tracks.
From your point of view, what's the way forward? Would you be able to meet with the other parties for the sake of the sport?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I would like to hear what they have on their minds. And I would really like to hear what this ban is about. Yeah, they should correspond with us. If they had the true interest of the sport at heart, they should have communicated with us and said, okay, we feel this XYZ is not correct. Can you improve on these areas? And we want the children to race on all tracks. But to say there's a ban enforced and we're not racing on your tracks is totally absurd. I don't really understand why this is happening. It's totally unnecessary and retrogressive to the sport.
Raj, the clubs are responsible for choosing the tracks. How's your relationship with the clubs?
Well, we have very good relationships with certain clubs, but I haven't had any talks with any of the clubs for now. I'm willing to do it. There are a couple of clubs which ran very good events at our facility, and they were very successful. And certain clubs at this time have certain tracks which they want to race on. Yeah, not understanding that the kids need a variety of racetracks. Yeah, it's not about which track they like. It's where the children will get a variety of configurations, and they'll develop more racecraft by racing with other children.
You're a parent.
Yes.
And with karting, it's mainly for youngsters coming into the sport. There are many champions who have come through karting. They use that as a stepping stone to go on to, other sports within motorsport, if I can say that, other disciplines within motorsports.
Yes.
We can understand how parents get enthusiastic, wanting their kids to win.
Yes.
With karting, how much of a factor is it in terms of politics within parents as well, in terms of what's happened, right now, the state of karting?
The politics between parents will always happen. It's a worldwide phenomenon with karting. I mean, we've raced in France, Italy, and UK. The politics with parents is always prevalent on the track. The event has to be managed correctly. If you have a strong clerk of the course, you have strong stewards to manage and mitigate the situations as they occur on the circuit, is the key to having a successful event. The clerk of the course has to be fair. The clubs have to be fair on where they race and how they race. Managing parents has always been a challenge, but it's I'd say part of the sport. It's all about managing, and if you have the right management on the day, the parents, in my opinion, we've always had issues while racing, but we always walk out as friends at the end of the day. We shake hands, have a beer, and we go home. It shouldn't be something that constitutes a ban to a facility just because a certain group of parents want to race at another track. Yeah, there is a social aspect to the sport, but the competitiveness, the competitive nature of racing against good racers should always be there in any motorsport. Yeah, the federation should be strong. The federation should investigate why this is happening and be fair about it. I would love to welcome all clubs to come and, view the facility, take up a facility to carry out their events. There is no way in which we are lacking. Let's move on with this, man. Let's make this sport grow.
Raj, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time out to speak to us. And, on behalf of Motorsport 411, we really hope that this is resolved for the betterment of the sport and for all parties.
Thank you very much, Sean.
That's the owner of TGRV, Raj Dadhley. We'll be back.
Motorsports 411 with Sean Cardovillis.
So that's it for the show this week. Our thanks very much to the clerk of the course for the Nanyuki Rally and also chairman of Nanyuki Rally Group, Bimal Patel, member of the Karting Commission, Norris Ongalo, and the owner of TGRV, Raj Dadhley. Our thanks as always to Big City Studio. I'm Sean Cardovillis.